So what I want to happen next is as the Pac-Man eats the food, the score goes up. So I'll go back to the food and I've put one in here that says set the score, and I'll find the score here. And the first one is set the score. And I want to set the score to 10. Now, if I set the score to 10, every single time he eats a piece of food, the score will go to 10. So that isn't what I want. What I want to do is every time the Pac-Man walks into a piece of food, I want 10 to be added to the score. And added to is relative. So relative, you like, is change it by 10. If I changed it by -10, the score would go down by 10. So now, what I'm saying is every time the Pac-Man walks into a piece of food, the piece of food gets destroyed and the score goes up by 10. So I click OK and I press on play. And at the moment there's nothing on the screen. Walk into a piece of food, and what's appeared up here at the top is score 10, which is a bit small and a bit difficult to see actually. I would prefer it much bigger and down here at the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do next. So the first thing I need to do is to make some space down the bottom of the game to write the score in. So I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to make the game slightly longer. I'm going to add 2 more squares. Now that's another 32, which gives me 768. So 768. And I can't quite see it on the screen anymore, but that's down there. And I want to put my writing around about here. I want it to appear around about there, so right underneath the bottom. Now if you look underneath here, it shows me where the cursor is going. So here has a position of 16704. And I'm just going to jot that down so I can remember that that's where I want to put it. I want to put it there. Now, to do this is quite straightforward. I go back to the food. I've set the score relative to 10. And I now want to produce not the score on the top, the score drawn. Now, and there's nothing on here to do that. That's all I can do here is set the score to 10. So what I need to do is actually create another object, an object which is just the score that appears down here. It's going to get slightly odd because I'm going to create a new object because it's something I want to change on the screen. But at the moment, it doesn't have a picture because I don't know what the score is going to be. The score is going to change all the time. So it's not a picture I'm going to put on there. And at the moment, I'm just going to leave it blank. So I'm going to call this score. Can't spell it right. And I'm going to click OK. So I've now got something called score. And I want to add an event. And the event I'm after is a drawing event. So I want to draw something. So, and I want to draw it every time that the score changes. Okay. So what I want to drag on here is a box that says draw the score. So every time the score changes, it's going to tell the game to now draw the picture, a picture of the score. And this is really sort of quite complicated the way it works it out. So because it's not the same picture all the time, it needs to work out what the picture is, which is the value of the score, draw the value of the score. And it knows that when the score changes, that's when it's got to draw it. The caption, what it writes on the screen, is score followed by a colon followed by a space. That's fine. Remember we said before, where do I want to put it? I said I want to put it at 16 and I want to put it at 704. So down the bottom of the screen, a little bit in from the edge and quite near the bottom. And that's okay. Now, if I now play the game, the score should appear down at the bottom down here whilst I'm playing. Except there's a problem, which is the score is going to appear down there, but I'm not going to see it because it's going to write it in black. And that's going to be black on a black background. So the first thing I need to do is I need to now say I want to change the colour of the writing. So I'll go back to the object score and say OK. Before you draw the value of the score, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to change the colour. And I go into the draw settings and drag on the colour, and I want to set the colour to, well, I think a nice bright yellow. So now what it should do is it should draw the score on, okay, and set the colour to yellow. Okay, so set the colour to yellow, then draw the score. So let's give that a try. Let's see how we've done so far. So up it comes. Click on there, and absolutely nothing happens. Oh dear. There's no, because what I'm expecting is the score to appear down here written in yellow. And again, this is a slightly strange thing with the game, because I've got a Pac-Man in the game, and I've got blocks in the game, and I've got food in the game, but I haven't got a score in the game. And just because an object doesn't have a picture doesn't mean it doesn't have to go into the game. Now this might seem slightly odd. You might say, well, why, if it's not got a picture and I'm not going to see it, why do I need to add it, put it into the room? And the reason is because you might not want the score to be drawn onto every single page. So one of the things we could do is have a splash screen at the beginning which explains the rules, and I wouldn't want the score on that page. So by having to put it onto every single page, it gives you the choice of whether you want it on a room, on a page or not. So I need to go on to objects. I need to say it. I want you to click on score, and I want you to click onto here. And it doesn't really matter where you put it on the game at all. I'm going to put it down the bottom anyway. And because there isn't a picture, what appears is a tiny blue circle with an even tinier red question mark. So I'm saying in this room, in room 0, I would like you to use score, and score says draw in yellow at position 16704, whatever the score is. So it's a slightly complicated way of doing it. That's okay. So I'm now going to press on play, and hopefully this time the score will appear down the bottom just like that. I don't really like that. That's a bit small and a bit difficult to see. So the other thing I can do is I can now add some fonts into the game, because you notice that on the score there was no way of changing the font. That's okay. Resources, create a font, and I want to use a nice futuristic looking one called Barbarella in bold. I would like it to be in size 32. I want it really quite big. So 32 Barbarella bold. I go back to the score and I tell it on the draw that I would like it to use the font 1. Okay, so I've called my font 1. Click OK. Click OK again. Press play on the game, and hopefully this time what should appear down the bottom of the game is the score in nice big Barbarella yellow font on 0. And if I start moving along, the score starts changing. So every time my Pac-Man eats some food, the score is going up.